Good afternoon to all our viewers and our listeners. My name's Grover Abrams. I'm the CEO of a company called Verve Digital, and I'm going to be running Business Bytes for the next couple of weeks, months coming, that we're also going to be putting on my YouTube channel, which is called The Tattered Mentor. If you want to listen to this on live on radio, we on Mbono Radio, which is Mbono Radio .co.za, and you can listen to all the interviews that I do with big business moguls. Today, who we're talking to is Gino Smith. He is the MD, CEO, director of a company called Ventura Smiths. He's also one of the co-founders, and we're going to be talking to him about his entrepreneurship journey as well as his consulting journey, and where he started, and from his humble beginnings, from where he started to where he is today. So very excited to speak to him. But just on another topic, very quickly. Or the same topic, but just something that's not specifically relevant to our discussion with Gino. Yesterday, as part of the marketing for this segment, I put these things up on LinkedIn, etc. And one of our mentors, she mentored both me and Gino. In fact, we reported to her at a company. Her name's Dr. Rose Phillips. Also put a status up there saying that she's very proud of us, and she's really glad to see how far we've come, and she's really looking forward to this interview. But just reading her message was just so powerful to me, because when we were still working at this company, she would always kind of say to us, don't forget where you come from, don't forget the people, don't leave the people behind, which is clearly something that's become a kind of a common thread through most of the people that worked with her and for her. Because that is what this is about. It's a passion that I've got to help the youth, to get to a place where they can find employment, where they can get the right skills, and all that kind of stuff. And it was just so powerful to see that messaging coming from her as well. And that's what she does with her business, which is called Abundance at Work. But it was just so powerful to see a message from her on LinkedIn as well. And then you're kind of just thinking back to say, that actually kind of groomed me, and as well as Gino, to be the people who we are, to drive that, and not forgetting our people, not forgetting our past, which often happens when people become successful. So I just wanted to kind of highlight that very quickly. And in saying that, very excited to be speaking to Gino Smith from Ventura Smiths. He co-founded this company with one of his partners. It's doing really well. So obviously I'm very, very keen to hear a bit more about what they've been doing, where they're going, and get some insights for you guys as well, so that you guys can learn from people that have struggled through these things. So without any further ado, let's have a chat with Gino. So dude, how are you doing, man? How's it going, Mr. Smith?
Are we on record? Do I need to?
No, we're on record now. We're on record.
Grover, I'm very well. I can't complain, man. In a fun chapter of life, I think, business-wise, professionally, and also on a personal level.
Yes.
Got young kids, right? So I've got a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
The 7-year-old will turn 8 soon. They keep me busy, man. They keep me busy. They keep me tired. They keep me on my toes. Consulting and entrepreneurship is easy.
Oh, compared to
it's a lot easier than the homework and all the extra bugles and all the slang I need to keep up with.
Yeah. My kids keep on telling me words that I don't even know. The other day they were quizzing me while we were sitting at the third table, and they were asking me about all these different terms, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're even saying. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I have no desire to keep up. I'm happy for them to think I'm old.
When my son said to me,
yeah,
Dad, in your day, in the olden days, when I heard that, then I was like, I give up. I'm not going to even try. So I'm with you there.
That's funny, because we just prepared an oddle for my daughter, Mondeling, right? No, I lie, an oddle on life long ago, and they had to interview the grandparents on things that were relevant long ago.
Yeah.
And the kids could not believe that there was no Google, that there was no YouTube, that there were no cell phones, that people played outside.
Yeah. My wife says the same thing, actually, but that's a story for another day. Yeah. So Gino, we know each other for a little while, for a couple of years now, from when we were both working at a consulting house. And
I always I don't know how this interview is going to go. It's obviously going to be quite humorous. I know that you're a humorous, Kate, and I really enjoy that about you. But obviously, we're going to talk about the consulting stuff. We're going to talk about the entrepreneurship stuff that you're in at the moment. But before we get into that, I just want to learn a bit more about your history. Where did you come from? How was your kind of upbringing in Cape Town? And yeah, let's start there. Let me not get into too much.
Grover, thank you. Thank you for the invite and the opportunity to be on this show with you and your listeners. So good morning, good afternoon to everyone who will be listening in. Excited to have a captive audience and to tell you a bit about my history. So let me jump right in and answer the question, right? Mm-hmm. You've already alluded that I come from Cape Town, and I'd say I come from, I don't want to say humble beginnings, but I come from a working class background, right? I come from a family where my parents both worked, and they worked 9-to-5 jobs, and we come from a community that is historically a colored community, but a good family community in the area, right? Mm-hmm. My childhood and my upbringing, I was the eldest of 2 sons, so younger brother aged 5, and like I said, a working class family where my parents really worked hard, right? They worked hard, they gave us a good life. We had a very, very good life in the suburb that we were from and in the area that we lived. And I think from that and from them, I saw an example of hard work, right? Hard work to change your stance in life and to improve your stance in life, and hard work to provide for your family, and hard work to create sustainability, right? My parents both built on what they had as children, so they both were able to do a bit better than what they than what they had when they were young, and they've created a foundation of stability. And from that, I think I learned and picked up my work ethic, right? And I learned that through hard work, through putting in the graft and doing the hours, you can build a solid foundation. You can improve your stance. Had a fun childhood, man. Had a safe childhood. Had everything I needed. Had close cousins, close friends. Grew up in a community where I could go and play with them. Where I could go and walk over, go and play soccer. Could go and have fun. Could go and be a child. And at the same time, the culture that was instilled with me at home was, you need to work. You can play, but you need to work as well, right? You need to excel at school. And I did relatively well. Primary school, I did quite well. High school, I maybe slacked off a bit, just because high school became about making friends and having fun and playing sport, but I still did well, right? I still did very, very well, in that I passed everything fairly easily, to the point that I was able to study. I always understood the value of hard work, right? One point about high school, I went to a better high school. I went to a good high school in a different suburb. And that opened up my eyes somewhat, right? When you grow up in a suburb and you go to school in a suburb, that's obviously what you know, right? And it's what you see. I think from a young age, I reflected before this radio interview, and I think from a young age to today, I can put my life into different chapters, and in each chapter my eyes were opened a bit more about what is out there in the world. And I think high school was an opportunity where I saw a bit more wealth, and where I saw a bit more of the other side and what others have. And if I think back to myself, and what that did for me was, it just showed me that the world is bigger than my immediate surrounds, right? And that there's more to explore and more to see and more to aspire to. So I'm grateful for that, right? It happened continuously throughout the chapters, and I'll tell you about that. But high school opened my eyes somewhat, and it laid a good foundation for me wanting more, right? And not just wanting to settle it. I've always been someone who thought to the future, worked hard in the now, but thought to the future, right? My desire is always to move forward and to move upward, right? And to actively do the hard work to get there, but then also to put in place the plans to make sure that tomorrow is better than today.
Yes,
for myself, for my family, for those around me. And it's always been my mindset, right? Do you am I answering the question? Do I go on to the
absolutely answering the question? That's look, I think specifically when it comes to, and I don't like bringing race into these things all the time, but when it comes to, people of color, sometimes it's, you need to put a little bit extra in just to get to the same place as other people. But I also think that it's a kind of running theme throughout people of color as well. My grandparents said the same thing to me, put in the hard work and everything else will come, that kind of stuff. And they weren't very, wealthy. They were, both teachers. One was a principal, the other was a teacher, so it was, when you said that, it just really resonated. I think that's a kind of common theme that goes through it. And I think that it's true, right? I mean, and you need to give it time. You need to obviously, you can't immediately see the benefits or the fruits of your labor, but if you give it time, it does definitely help. So
it's the reality of our country, right? And there's something my father said to me very young, and probably in passing. I don't think he realized in saying it that it would sit with me for the rest of my life. But something he said was, you always play the cards you are dealt, right?
Yeah.
He's not a poker player or at all, but he says you always play the cards you are dealt.
Yeah.
Everyone gets a different deck of cards, meaning we start off on different footing, but we all want to win, right? And you play it to the best of your ability, right? If you need to bluff, if you need to be strategic, you acknowledge where you are, and you want to win, right? Winning in life being just moving forward and progressing. You do things in a way such that you can navigate and such that you can give yourself the best chance of winning, right? And perhaps you don't always win, but as long as you're moving forward, it's progress. So
Spot on. Yeah. Gino, I want to get a bit more into moving into your actual career now, right? So first thing I want to ask is, what I just mentioned earlier was, hard work, and you said you put in the graft and you grind, and you will get to a place where it might not be exactly where you want to be, but it's a better place than you're at. So just if you can give us a bit more of an explanation about, not explanation, but if you can maybe remember some challenges you might have experienced on your way through that journey, maybe as a junior consultant, maybe getting into, one of these consulting houses. Have you experienced anything like that? Not necessarily because of the, because you're a person of color, but any other reason.
Man, I'll tell you how I stumbled into consulting, right? I think I stumbled into consulting due to challenges in what I initially saw my career path going to be. I'm blessed and I'm happy that I stumbled into consulting. One, because I just want to emphasize something you said. I think for me, consulting is trying to improve a situation, right? So trying to improve a situation. What it is today, you want to improve it for the client and the client's organization, such that tomorrow or when you leave, it's better, right? So I'm grateful that I've stumbled into consulting. I think there's a natural synergy for my disposition of wanting to improve. But how I got to consulting, Grover, I think will answer the question. You're asking difficulties I had along the way. We spoke about high school. The next chapter after high school was university, right? And my initial line of study was in counseling psychology, clinical and counseling psychology, which again for me was great, right? I had the ambition to become a psychologist, to become a clinical or a counseling psychologist, and I studied that for 4 years, an honors degree, did really well. And counseling is very similar to psychology, right? Very similar to consulting in that you are trying to understand the problem, you are trying to understand the situation and all of the context around it for the individual you are engaging, and you are helping them understand where do they want to go and options for getting there, right? Never prescribing, but helping them envision where they would like to go and how they could possibly get there, and making the best choice in the best fit way. So I think studying psychology gave me a good foundation for consulting. But while studying, my plan, like I said, was to go into counseling. Little did I know that counseling and psychology is very hard to get into, right? I graduated with great marks, quite young, early 20s, possibly 21, 22 when I graduated. Thousands of people apply to become psychologists, 10 get accepted, right?
Yeah.
And they generally take people with life experience. So that became difficult for me because I generally, because I work hard, I generally have always gotten what I wanted, right? Because I've set a target and I've worked towards a target, I generally would achieve that target because I actively work towards it. Never got into my master's at the first time of asking, so immediately having graduated, made it quite far, but never made it to the final 10 at all the universities I applied. And the recommendation was to get some life and career experience, right? Which I went out and did. My initial career was in social sciences research, working as a researcher for a period of 3 years, setting up behavioral studies all around the country, getting training in America, really learning the basics of project management, right? Learning some solid foundations of project management. All the while in those 3 years, I mean, even volunteering at Lifeline. all the while in those 3 years, not getting in for my master's in psychology. So that was tough for me, right? Because I considered myself to be good. I considered myself to be a good candidate and thought I should be getting in. Grateful that I didn't, because at one point a mentor of mine, not going to mention much names, but I'll mention his name, Joachim Jacobs. He's since deceased, so I'll mention it. But he recommended to me, why not do an MBA? Why not switch from counseling to the world of business, right? And open up your horizons. And I'd never thought about it. And off the back of him saying that to me, did an application for University of Stellenbosch. The applications were closing within the week, and I literally did a last-minute application, wrote a nice letter with it. And my intent was to do the MBA part-time whilst working. And the letter I wrote was good enough to get me a good bursary, a very, very good bursary that would afford me the opportunity to do it full time. So that was a hardship, right? A hardship that I experienced early in my career, but that I've used as a catalyst to pivot and to switch into what has become a consulting career, and which I am grateful for.
That's an interesting story, and obviously something I've never heard. Like I said, we've known each other for quite a few years, so it's really nice to hear these stories, because as much as you were going through adversity and everything in that moment, which is obviously terrible, you needed to figure out how to get to your bursary or to get to the MBA or the counseling thing, depending on which way it fell. And obviously it went the way that it went, and that's the reason that you're here. But it gives good stories to other people that are in townships and stuff like that really don't see any hope, right? And that's the reason we have this.
I wouldn't use the word terrible, right? It's reality.
Yes.
Everything is reality, right? When things happen, it is what it is, and I'm not a negative. I've not got a negative disposition or outlook, right? When things happen, it is what it is. Whatever has happened, and it's your next step that is important, right? Because it's important to acknowledge reality. It's, if you want to be angry, cool, be angry, but don't let it stop you from moving forward. Because fundamentally, you continuously need to move forward, right? That's my mindset as a person, but it's also my outlook on life. You can always optimize, and if something is not optimal currently, there are things you can do to get it back towards a state of being optimal or being better. This applies for business, it applies for life in general. And it's how I've always been, and it's why I consult, man.
Absolutely. And just for our listeners and viewers, for the YouTube channel as well, if you're getting into entrepreneurship, get used to that. That's going to be, it's such a difficult thing. You can go through so many ups and so many downs. And those downs you need to kind of work through. So I want to get to that, talking about the one side of things is your consulting experience. Obviously, you've done really well in that space, working for, two of the top of the big four globally, the same two that I worked for, strangely enough. And, you decided to leave that world and then start on your own. Can you give us some maybe not challenges, but just walk us through your experience of starting up your own business and becoming an entrepreneur, and be ruthless, right? Don't just give us the good stuff. Tell us the bad stuff too.
So I had no initial desire to be an entrepreneur, right? So some people are born always wanting to be entrepreneurs. I first went into consulting after the MBA. So I had the 3 years experience setting up research, project managing that, went and did the MBA, and then went into consulting, right? Which is what I did for the next 10 years for a corporate, as you say. And I'm so grateful I did that. As a consultant who joined one of the big consultancies, I played every level, right? I joined at the lowest level, so analyst, worked my way up to consultant, got the promotion in relatively short time. From consultant, got promoted to manager in relatively short time, and from manager, got promoted to senior manager in relatively short time, right? Or the prescribed time. But why I tell you that, Grover, is because that gave me a foundation, right? I truly learned everything there is about consulting. From the analyst level, I learned how to deliver, how to work, how to graft on projects, right? How to keep things sticking and keep things moving forward, how to be a business operator in what was always complex and challenging environments. I think because of my disposition, I got handed a lot of very challenging but cool projects, right? Projects that gave me these rings under my eyes, but where I stretched myself. I constantly was on projects where I needed to stretch myself and learn this, getting the promotions, but also more importantly, getting the experience. I can deliver. I can consult, right? Once I got the promotion to consultant, learned how to collaborate, learned how to co-create, learned how to consult, learned how to engage, all things that align with my psychology background, right? Which is all about probing, looking at a symptom or looking at what the client thinks is the issue, drilling down into it, looking at it from different vantage points to understand root causes behind that, right? And to see bigger picture opportunity. Really got to hone the consulting skills. At manager level, I mean, I managed large teams. You were a part of that, right? Managed large accounts, managed profit and loss, managed everything one would manage, right? And at the senior manager level, I learned how to sell and how to run a business. And I want to say why I describe it is those 10 years were tough. At every stage I was stretched, but it was so good for me in that it taught me everything I needed to know to transition to entrepreneurship when I did. I talk about life being chapters. Consulting was a great chapter. Consulting for the corporate, right? I'm still a consultant. Consulting for the corporate was a great chapter, but it was different when I was young and unmarried without children to when I was a father of kids, right? Because it requires you to travel quite a bit, to be out of town quite a bit. And at a point I got to a realization, thanks to coaching. I was in executive leadership development coaching, thanks to one of our mentors, a good friend of yours and mine, Grover, who sent me to coaching. She talks of abundance. If she's listening, she knows who she is. But coaching made me realize that I could do what I'm doing for myself, kind of on my own terms, right? I love to consult. I have no desire to, or very little desire to be in a business as usual role. I love consulting. Coaching made me realize that I already run a business. I already grow a book of work. I already manage a balance sheet. I could do this for myself. And in 2019, I started Ventura Smiths. I started Ventura Smiths, which is a new world of work management consultancy. We do very, very cool projects. We originate a lot of our projects. A lot of the time, we also augment and latch onto existing strategic projects to support our clients. But effectively, what I transitioned to was doing exactly what I did for the large corporate, simply for myself, able to target what I consider to be cool projects, cool clients that we get to do good work. The client feels it is meaningful. We've done something that is considered high impacting and a value add, and work that also speaks to the consultant, right? Because as much as I work for clients, I have a team of very, very strong consultants who I think had also grown disillusioned with the world of corporate consulting. So when you have cool projects that are step changes for the client and meaningful, and speak to the consultant, speak to what they want to do. It's a magic scenario, man, in which you very quickly deliver value. And because you've done it, you build trust, you build credibility, and you often get the opportunity to do it again. So I think I answered your question. The tough part for me would have probably been the point where I made the decision to go on my own as a result of unsustainably putting my family second.
I remember very clearly, actually, we were working on a project together when your wife was pregnant, you know, and that was your first child. Your boy was you know, and obviously that was on the project. So on that project, he was actually born. Yeah.
I'm purposefully not saying names of any corporates or any projects or any clients, but I remember that too, and I get during delivery I was working.
I know. I remember that very, very clearly. But I think that's part of the challenge, right? I mean, you're talking about, you know, literally while your wife's maybe not specifically giving birth, but you're in the hospital waiting, you know, and you're busy typing out.
Yes. Let's clarify. It was a long labor, right? Not during, not while the baby was coming out, but.
Well, I mean, you're still with her, so she would have left you for sure if, you know, if that was the case. But yeah, I think I just want to talk a bit more, and the reason I want to talk a bit more about this is because I really feel consulting could be a good career option for a lot of people. And you know, like you mentioned, there's a lot of late hours and difficult times, especially when you're an analyst. You get put under a lot of pressure, which obviously brings out the best in people, in my view. But I think consulting is kind of split into those three things, right? Like, so for me, right, it's sales, it's delivery on projects, and then it's you know, upselling or cross-selling when you're in that client, which I don't know if every specific consulting or consultant does. I know a lot of people are focused on delivery, etc. What's the difference? For me, the stepping into entrepreneurship from the consulting space was, you know, you're not a specialist anymore. Now you're a jack of all trades. Now you need to do sales. You need to also deliver on the projects, and you also need to cross-sell and upsell in that client, you know, so regardless of that, which I know that we both kind of did it, that company we spoke about earlier, but a lot of people don't. I want to really get a sense of day in the life of Gino Smith. How do you split up your day, or week, or however you want to do it, or however you want to explain it, so that people have an understanding of these are the kind of activities you'll go through if you go into this kind of business. You
said a lot, Grover. I'm gonna get to the day in the life of, but I wanna comment.
That's my actual question. I put a lot of fluff in there, but that's my actual question.
You did say quite a lot, but I agree with you 100% on your first point that consulting is a great career for the young student out there. I think for anyone unsure about what it is you definitely want to do, if you are hardworking and if you are willing to work hard and put in the graft, I think a start-out career in consulting is an excellent option, right? It gives you the opportunity to experience many industries, many disciplines, many functional areas within organizations in a very, very short space of time, right? Were you to do 2 to 3 years in consulting, you really learn strong foundations and basics in terms of methodology and ways of going about improving client context. And it will always be challenging, always be a stretch, and you will constantly be working hard, but the foundation you get from that will set you up for a successful career thereafter. Once you've consulted, you generally you will excel in whichever line of career path you follow thereafter, right? So I agree with your point that it's a good foundation for any student or any young professional. And thereafter, you often set yourself up, like Grover and myself, to be able to find your own work, right, and run your own business. And Grover, part of your question was about becoming a jack of all trades, not only being a specialist, but also a salesman. I think sales starts with just being credible, right? What do I mean by that? I described earlier starting at the lowest level and working my way up from analyst to consultant to manager. You also sell in how you show up, right? So it's not always selling in terms of this is the price and this is what you get for it, but it's selling in terms of earning trust and showing your credibility, right? So at the foundation level, if and when you've agreed to do something, as I have with many clients, I've got statements of works, I've got projects, I've got things that we've agreed. You need to do it well, right? You need to do it well. You need to deliver on what is required, on what the ask is, and you need to that's the minimum criteria. That's how you earn credibility, right? And because you've done it well, and because you've added value, and you've shown and identified enhancement opportunities and a roadmap forward over and above that very basic foundation deliverable, it helps you build trust, right? And once you've built trust is an outcome of you delivering and credibility and just the way you show up. It will naturally give you then the opportunity to build relationships, and that's how you sell, right? It's not always cold. It's not cold calling. It's not cold.
I don't think any of us
in a consulting world.
That's right. Spot on.
Yeah. So, what's a day in the life of Gino, right? So Ventura Smith is 5 years young. We going into our 6th financial year. And we've done well, right? We've had triple digit percentage revenue growth year on year. So we've done well. It's easy to have those numbers when you start from a foundation of 0, but we've had good growth, right? We've grown a respectable client set, consulting to many of the large corporates in South Africa, especially in financial services and insurance industries. I did a count before this call, and since 2020, Grover, my team have done 46,000 consulting hours, right, to our respective clients, which is testament to the fact that we are building a solid business, delivering solid work, like I say, to a big client set, right? I myself, leader of the business, but also I think of myself as a player coach, right? I manage a team, I run the business, I'm also billable. So throughout this time, I've been working on client-facing projects, doing work for clients, project managing, solutioning, delivering for clients. A day in the life for Gino is, man, it's full. I'm not going to tell you about all the things I do for my kids, because that requires a longer radio show. but like I say, I'm billable, right? So for the hours that I bill to the client, I'm obviously supporting client delivery, usually large scale projects. I typically project manage or look after a team that are implementing something or driving some strategic initiative. So in any given day, week or month, every day I've got a couple of stand-ups that I attend and a couple of documents I need to produce. Each week, a couple of reports I need to produce for clients in terms of progress and risks and decisions that need to be taken, attending of steercos, and that's just my delivery side, right? So I do keep myself busy because we are still a founder-led business. I think myself and my co-founding partner, Ventura Smith is a representation of us, right? We are vested in every project that we do. We want to ensure the quality of our delivery, so we're very hands-on, right? We are in the projects ourselves, both working. And then I make time to check in with all my consultants, right? Not all of them are on my project, some are at different clients, so I have check-ins throughout the week. I'm always available, and we've got Teams channels, WhatsApp groups, etc., where additional ad hoc support is needed should anyone ever need to reach out to me. But there's a degree of checking in with my team. How are you doing? How's the client doing? Is there anything you need me to step in and manage? And obviously at least once a month I like to check in with each of my clients. So there's project delivery that I do, there's people and team management that I do, and then there's client account relationship management that I do, right? Where I check in not only with the client I consult to, but elsewhere, simply to make sure that that the client is still happy, that my team are still delivering, and also to suggest ideas or enhancement opportunities that may have been spotted. So work and relationship management, relationship and people management. From time to time I get invited to respond to an RFP, which Grover, I love to do, so that keeps me excited, right? Being able to respond to a request for proposal and pull together something innovative. that hopefully we win, or maybe from time to time we win. But in all honesty, the majority of the wins we do get is purely as a result of good delivery that translates into a conversation where the client says, hey, could you help us with this? And then the consulting engagement starts trying to probe. So you say, this is what you need help with. Let's reframe it. Let's look at it from different angles. Cool. Let's see how we can help you move forward in a way that improves your situation.
It's very interesting that you say that. And there's a couple of things that I picked up from while you were talking that really kind of resonated with me as well, which is, firstly, from a sales perspective, going into a room and trying to make a sale, which is, I didn't hear you saying that. I heard, what is your problem? Let's see if we agree on your problem and then take it from there. I actually had a situation 2 weeks ago where a client came to me and said that they want, because obviously we're a digital learning company, so they wanted digital learning. And we went through this kind of scoping session, and I realized this is not a training issue, this is a change management issue. The system's been with you guys for 4 years. People just aren't using it. It's a change management. Maybe training is a small component of it, but it's not. So walking away from things like that, I think builds trust with your clients to make those sales. So I think
100%, Grover, and I think that's what Ventura Smiths are, right? And yourself as Verve as well. That's what we are. We trusted advisors, right? So I made the decision to do meaningful work, to do work that I like, but to do meaningful work as well. And I have tough conversations with my clients because they are tough, but they are always constructive, right? We challenge and we challenge in a way that allows us to identify the root cause, because you might want learning. Cool, we'll build learning for you if that's what you really want, but we want the learning to be successful and to drive an impact in your business. And if we want to do that, this is the bigger picture. In your example, it's change. Chances are it's leadership and culture, and you need a sponsor and an influencer behind it as well. But there's always a bigger picture, right? And looking at things from one angle is transactional. If the client really wants that and insists, cool, but we are always going to consult and give our opinion on how something can be more sustainably tackled in a manner that is impactful.
Yeah. And just getting back to the youth that are currently sitting at home, looking for opportunities and stuff like that. You also brought something up that's quite critical, which is the growth opportunities in consulting, right? It's a lot of times people think it's ruthless, but you will grow if you do the work.
100%, right? I'm at my best when I'm incompetent, and I say that because it was something that got drilled into us in my MBA, right? They spoke of something called the cave of incompetence, and it was a concept. I don't know if it's coined anywhere, but it was the second something becomes routine, you're not growing anymore, right? You're no longer growing. You are already good at it. It's just routine. Do something, or when you get an opportunity to do something that you've never done before or is a stretch, do it. Because if you are an overachiever, or if you are someone who constantly wants to excel and win and succeed, very quickly you will learn everything that there is to learn about that area of work, right? Around that area of specialty. And because you are tackling it, you are going to gain the hands-on experience, and eventually you will become very competent at that. So throughout my career, man, Grover, I've done every type of project, and I've been inside every corporate within South Africa, right? I've walked the floor everywhere. I can tell you where the smoke is smoke, where the coffee and the water coolers are in pretty much every building of big client. And for the youth that you talk about, that's exciting, man. You're constantly doing something different. You're constantly growing, and you're experiencing so much industries and organizations, which you don't get to do in a specific, exactly, right? Or in one job function or one job role.
Even just jumping across industries, even if you're doing the same thing, like I'm thinking of mine safety courses in mines, going, to look at the coal mine, for example, to see where the safety issues, and then you look at anti-bribery and corruption for, it's so completely different that you're never kind of settling in, which I enjoy jumping around and learning new things, etc. So I think that is a big bonus for me for youngsters coming into this this profession.
And just to for the youngsters, just to clarify, it's not jumping around, right? Because jumping around sometimes can have a negative connotation when you've been to many corporates and jumped around from permanent employment to permanent employment. Consulting is not that. Consulting is project based, right? You have a project. A project is for a set period of time, whether it's 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, typically shorter. They are projects, and these projects are at different corporates, different industries, and for different things. And fundamentally, the project is to take something from an as is to a to be in a way that sets the organization up to be better. So Grover uses the word jumping around. It is moving around from project to project.
But within the consulting.
Within the consult. Yeah.
And also, in saying that as well, I had a point which I've completely forgotten. Yeah, but anyways, it's not really that critical. But Gino, thanks so much for taking the time. I know that I asked you later. I've been wanting to do an interview with you for ages, and luckily I got the opportunity yesterday to pull you in. So
honestly, Grover, I'm glad you did. Personally, I've been head down focused on Ventura Smiths, right? That's a new 5 years young, relatively new, but I've been focused on setting up and running and working in that business. And I've been conscious that I've been working in and not as much on, right? So I've in my mind, in my new chapter, as much as I still will work and do want to consult, I need to work on the business, not just in the business.
Yes.
And I appreciate you calling me, man, and asking me to do this. It's forcing me to get back out there and start sharing my points of view, which, to be honest, I've not done much of in the last 5 years, purely because I've been focused. And it was the right thing to do. Like I say, we've grown a respectable base and a solid client set and a good team. But yeah, thank you. And I would happily, when next in Joburg, do another one, man, with you in your studio.
It'd be great to sit in actually sit here on the couch with me, next to my whiskey trolley over here. Not necessarily drink anything, but it'll be great to actually sit down in person and have a chat. That's always it's always nice to have you around as well, just to have a supper and a couple of drinks.
We'll make that happen.
Absolutely. So guys, thank you so much, Gino, for joining. It's Gino Smith from Ventura Smiths. Are you the CEO, the MD? What do you call yourself? Co-founder?
I'm the co-founder. I suppose I'm a director and an executive, but
a consultant is what you say.
Team member, senior consultant.
Senior consultant. That's what I saw on your LinkedIn. And if you want to look for Gino, it's Gino. Is it Gino R. Smith or is it just Gino Smith on LinkedIn?
LinkedIn would just be Gino Smith.
Gino Smith. If you're listening to the radio slot, go on to the Tattered Mentors YouTube. Look what he looks like, and you'll find him quite easily. So yeah. Ventura Smiths as well. It's purple and blue and white, as far as I can remember, or turquoise and white. So yeah, thank you very much, Gino. Wish you all the best of luck. I'm also in that phase of kind of working on the company. It's very, very tough. A lot of times people think that you're just lazy, but it's, we know the hours that we work, and it's very difficult to sometimes get it to. I literally have to take my whole Wednesday up to do, these sessions. So, yeah, good luck with that, man. I just wish the best for you and your business, and I know that you guys are doing well, and I know it's just going to carry on from here. So well done and good luck.
Thank you, Grover, and to your listeners, all of you have a good day. Thank you.
Cool, thanks. You don't have to go, Gino. Stop recording. Yeah. Cool, dude. That was awesome. Thanks.